Today, the FOMC raised our policy interest rate by 25 basis points.
Things are starting to seem a little different. Sure, the Fed is still raising rates, but at a slower pace, and there seems to be more confidence in the air. So that gets me thinking, are people getting a little too confident about the short term? Bullish trend continues on. Bitcoin goes as high as 24,250 on yesterday's run, and the S&P 500 is now seeing its second major green day. This is coming right after the Fed announced a 25 basis point hike, and now it's very clear to the market that the Fed is becoming less aggressive with interest rate hikes, and this has begun to give traders and investors more confidence in the bullish argument. There were a lot of people that did not think that this bullish trend was possible. The crowd was for a very long time overwhelmingly bearish. Everyone agreed with each other that the market couldn't go up, and now things are obviously going in the other direction. And as the crowd starts to flip to being more bullish and starts to get really confident, that's when I'm going to start to ease up a little bit on my bullishness. The main theory that we've had on this channel the past few weeks is that it's likely that the markets are going to continue to run up into a Fed pause. Now, they're saying now that the pause is likely going to happen in May. Kind of interesting. It goes along with that Wall Street saying, sell in May and go away. And I think it's going to fake a lot of people out because a lot of people are expecting the Fed pivot to be the bullish signal, but we all know that that's not the case. Fed pivots are historically bearish. And it usually plays out something more like this, where the pause is more of like the news, buy the rumor, and then you sell the news. We may have a multi-month run here on our hands. Despite the short-term stuff that may or may not occur, for example, if you go to the 4-hour chart, Bitcoin has not really had like a major test of the downward sloping resistance yet. So maybe we run up or whatever, and then we at some point actually retest the downward sloping resistance before continuing up. Those types of things are always possible. There's always going to be volatility. It's not going to be a straight line always, right? So keep that in mind. And really important to look at is the S&P 500. Today we have actually gotten the golden cross. The 50 is now crossing above the 200. The S&P is entering what would be classically considered a bullish trend, right? Usually the golden cross is a long-term indicator that the trend is likely shifting bullish. And it's not just the golden cross. I mean, we're breaking above the macro downtrend line. The year-long downtrend line is now being broken right as we get the golden cross. So again, despite the short-term stuff that may occur, it's more likely that the markets run up. And we could see a move up into May of this year. And maybe that's when we start to see things turn around. But I think the momentum is here. I think the bullish momentum has returned. And what I'm noticing now is a lot of people are starting to get bullish, which kind of has me a bit worried. Whereas, on this channel, we were getting bullish at much lower levels. Most people disagreed with us on this channel, but now people are starting to agree. And now when I put out Twitter polls, the results are becoming more and more and more bullish, which, when you're in the middle of sentiment flipping from extreme bearishness to bullish, of course, you're going to get that. I think if we have another leg up, that's where the FOMO is really going to kick in. And if everyone starts to get bullish again, I'm going to start to get a little bit worried at that point. But something else to consider is, besides the opinion of others, just looking at the chart, Bitcoin is breaking the largest falling wedge in its history. There has never been a falling wedge bigger than this one. Falling wedge patterns are bullish patterns. You usually get a lot of upside momentum when you break them. And I think that it's very likely that we hit 28,000 or 30,000, the previous 2021 support. I think this is just a major target that the market is going to want to test. And we'll see what happens when we get there, if there is a retest down, or if we actually sort of just settle up there and continue up more. All of this is possible. Why do I say that? A lot of people are probably watching this like, wow, that's so, moon boy. What a moon boy prediction. Well, the textbook says measure the fattest part of the falling wedge and place it on your breakout zone. And if you guys want me to do that for you here, just go and buy the book. This is not my opinion. This is the textbook, guys. And that would land us at roughly $50,000 Bitcoin. So that's the reason why I'm bringing this up. Why I was just saying that, okay, maybe we go to 30K, settle up and continue, is because the textbook is saying that we would more likely go up towards 50. I've heard people say 48,000, that exact peak right there. The textbook would actually suggest something like 51,500. So I know this all sounds pretty crazy to all the people that have been skeptical, but whether Bitcoin just runs up to 30 and tests back down, or tests down sooner, or does the ultra bullish 50K target, that's all going to have to do with the stock market. And I want to show you guys something, because people are always referring to the previous cycles where Bitcoin in 2015, when we broke the macro down trend line, people always talk about this right here. This is 2015, where when Bitcoin breaks out, it comes back and tests the macro down trend line. And they say, see, in 2015, that's what we did. So we're going to do it again. Well, so we talked about this in the live stream, and check this out, guys. Why did that happen? People don't ask the question, why did Bitcoin back test back then? Look, this is the S&P, the purple line. This is the S&P 500. Look at that dump. That's why Bitcoin back tested the macro breakout. If the S&P hadn't done this insane dump right there, Bitcoin likely wouldn't have back tested the breakout zone. And in 2019, right, here's 2018, going into 2019, Bitcoin breaks the macro down trend line. What happened here? We didn't back test it because the S&P just continued to go up. It's all about the stock market, guys. The stock market dictates confidence. So we go ahead in time here. If Bitcoin is going to either, just continue up, right, or retest down like in 2015, that is all dependent on the stock market, almost entirely, unless there's some kind of black swan event, contagion event or something that happens again. But other than that, it's entirely up to the stock market. And so far, so good with the S&P. It looks like we're probably going to continue up from here, right? This is a different type of moment than 2015. Both Bitcoin and the S&P are breaking the macro down trend line at the same time. So there's probably going to be some good momentum here. There's a lot of people out there that, the same people that were bearish at the bottom are the same people saying we won't go above 25,000, which is kind of making me think we might go above 25,000. A lot of people definitely don't want Bitcoin to. There's a lot of people still on the sidelines. And if you're just looking at Bitcoin on the weekly again from this falling wedge perspective, in terms of the retest, I think it's looking more likely that we're going to hit 30 before getting a retest of the falling wedge. It is possible that we see some major bearish action after May when the Fed pauses, right? Maybe that's when we see a major downside test, and that's when the more sideways action starts to come into play in the market. That's all possible. But we're going to have to see how things really are when we get up to, 30,000, 28,000, because it's possible that we may actually end up hitting a much higher target. But it all depends on what the stock market does. And not to mention, if you go from high to low with your fibs and then you take your falling wedge breakout target, it's actually coming in just around the 618 fib extension. And this is very reminiscent. That's about 48,500. And that's very reminiscent of what? 2019, high to low. We touched exactly the 618 on the retest up, guys. It has happened before. So before you just say it's a Moon Boy prediction, consider that it has happened before. Anyway, guys, we'll see what happens coming up next. I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about a few things. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Smash like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.